Alright, what's up, guys? My name is Caleb. Welcome to Building Developers. Today I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know in order to start building web pages and structure it well. Today we're going to go into HTML. I'll be telling you and teaching you and showing you practically all you need to know to build that beautiful web page that you desire, or web pages. If you're just getting started in web development, you should know that the tech stack you need for just front end is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, at least for the basics. So today we're going to dive into HTML and I'll teach you everything you need to know. Alright, let's just go into it, no much talk. The first thing you need to know is we need something. We need a code editor. You can actually make use of Notepad or other code editor, but for this tutorial and for what I use for my personal project, I'm going to make use of VS Code, that is Visual Studio Code. So go to your browser and search for Visual Studio Code, download, and I think I missed something. I click the first link you see. Yeah, if you're for Windows, just go for this. If you're for Mac, you can choose this. If you're for Mac, you can choose this, and this is for Linux. Alright, I'm using Windows, so we're just gonna go with this. So you're gonna wait for some seconds. Alright, actually I have this. You can see it here. I have this on my system, but just click save and it will download it for you. And once it's done downloading, you can open it. If you open it, just follow the prompts and install it. Alright, so the next thing we need to do now is to create some folders where our files, our HTML files will be stored. That is very important also in web development. So what you do is right click and come to new and go to folders. Let's just name this, let's see, my website. Alright, so open this folder, right click, and you're going to see this option, open with code. Just click on that. It's going to open this folder right in Visual Studio Code. Wow, this is what we're talking about. Alright, now come to your VS Code. You just come to this place where it says new file. Click on it. Then you're going to name, let's give it this name, index.html. Alright guys, I need to say this. This index, you can actually give it any name. You can give it any name. It depends on the page you're trying to build. For instance, you can give it aboutus.html. You can give it contact.html. You can give it posts.html. But the most important thing is this extension here, which is .html. We have all programming language have their own extension. We have Python is .py, JavaScript is .js, CSS is .css, and all that. So make sure that if you're naming, if you're giving name for HTML file, just give it this name, just give it the extension. So press enter, and it's going to generate this for us. Wow, this is beautiful. Okay, so let's just go into this. What is HTML? HTML basically means hypertext markup language. That is the meaning of HTML. HTML is a markup language. It is the language that we use to structure our web page. It is so amazing. It is useful, and if you have understanding of HTML, you'll be able to build so many applications. You'll be able to build web application. You'll be able to build mobile application because they kind of follow the same pattern somehow. If you want to create website, HTML for you. If you want to be a web designer, HTML for you. If you want to understand the web, HTML for you. Alright, I don't want to bore you with much talk. Let's just go into how the principle you have to follow in writing HTML code, right? Alright, go to your keyboard. On your keyboard, just hit shift exclamation mark, and after that press tab. It's going to generate this boilerplate code here for you, and what we're going to do is we're going to write h1 and hello. That's awful. Hello world. So you're going to save this file. You can right click on your keyboard and save it, but what you do is press Ctrl S for mark, press Command S. Now what you're going to do now is you're going to go back to that file that you created. Go back to the file. You can see that this index.html that we created here is here already, so you're going to open it. Okay, wow, look at what we just did. Okay, let me just go straight into this. Let me explain. This is how we write HTML code, right? Now all HTML code starts with most of them starts with an opening tag and a closing tag. I'm going to explain what that means to you right now. So this is the opening tag of the head, and this is the closing tag. Now every opening tag starts with a less than sign and the name of the tag, for this case, which is head, and a greater than sign. So this is the opening tag of this element. Now the closing tag is quite different. There is a little difference between the closing tag and the opening tag. The similarity is that you put, if you have head here, the closing tag also, the name of the tag is going to be head. All right. So, but for the closing tag, we have this forward slash here. So we have this less than sign, the forward slash, the name of the tag again, and a greater than sign. And that is how we declare HTML contents, HTML element. These are the principles you have to follow. If you observe here, we have all that there. Now, HTML also have nested tag. That means you can nest different tag inside different tags. Like for instance, this all the elements here, they are nested right in this head element. Alright, so what you do is just leave, if you want to nest any element, for instance this body here, this body tag, this H1 is nested inside of it. So what you do is you have your indentation, that is 2 space or 4 space, so that the HTML file will know that, okay, this is a nested element. Alright, so that is what nested elements are in HTML. Nested elements are elements that you place inside of another element. So for our case here, the head elements, all these other elements here, the title and the meta tag, are nested in this head element. I hope you get it. Now please take note that HTML code are written this way. You have the opening tag, which consists of the less than sign, the body, and the greater than sign. Then you have the closing tag, which is the less than sign. The closing tag, you must always put this forward slash. Here we have the forward slash, here we have the forward slash, here we have the forward slash, and here and almost everywhere. Now I don't know if you noticed that this meta elements don't have closing tag. Now the answer is simple. The reason is because there are some HTML elements that don't have closing tag, and the main reason is because they don't have content inside of them. Any HTML element, this is how you differentiate the two. Any HTML element that has content within it must have a closing tag. For instance, look at this H1 element here. Now this H1 element has a content. That is why we have to close it. Now if it has a content, we can't just leave it this way. It doesn't make any sense. So we just have to close it. Now the closing tag symbolizes that it's telling the file that you know what, just I'm done talking. Here I'm saying hello world, and the closing tag will say, hey, I'm done talking, so go to the next line. So any HTML element that doesn't have content inside of it, you don't have to put closing tag. You don't have to close the element. For instance, the meta element here, they don't have closing tag because there's no content here, right? There's no content here. So that is the difference. We have other HTML element that you're going to make use of that doesn't have closing tag, the img and so on. We're going to talk about that a lot, and you're going to get it. Hope you got that. All right, let's talk about inline and block elements. Now, an inline element, they are elements that don't start a new line. they only take the needed width. Elements like span, img, anchor tag, and all that, they are called inline elements. We also have block element. Now there are just two major types of elements in HTML. That's the inline and the block. So that's what I'm talking about. So the block element starts a new line. They take all the full width available. So examples of elements like that are div, h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, h6, and paragraph, and so on. Don't worry, you're going to understand what I mean by taking the full width, not taking the full width in this video. Alright, so let's talk about heading, and that is what I have done here. Now h1 is the main heading of an element, because as you can see right here, if we go back to a file, here we have this hello world, and you can see it's large. Now we also have a subheading that is h2. So h2, let's say let me just write heading 2. So before you can, and make sure that you have to know this, before you can view anything here, make sure that you save it right here first, because if I go back, I've not saved it. To know if you saved it, you see this circle here will will actually transform to like the times symbol. So if I refresh this page, you see nothing is displayed. But if I save it, this circle is gonna disappear. So you can see I've saved it. The circle is no longer there. So I can come back here and refresh the page. Now here the heading, the header 1, the h1 tag, element is larger than the h2. We also have h3, heading 3. We have h4. I just want to show you how the size of all this, so that you have a better understanding of how it looks like, so that you know when to use all these elements. h6, heading, what am I writing? Heading 6. Alright, we're going to save this and view this here. Now you can see that this is the largest, followed by this, followed by this. I hope you get the idea. So that is how heading works. Let's go back. Let's go. I think. Okay, let's leave this. So the next element we're going to talk about is sorry about that. The next element we're going to talk about is the paragraph element. Now every element, every word. Let me see if I have. Okay, this is the website I'm building. My current crypto website. Now you see all those words, they are paragraph elements. You use paragraph for words like this. Alright, so let's go back to our code and let's write. So this is going to be the paragraph of a website. Let me just write random stuff. Thanks for reading this this article. Alright, let's save this. Let's see. Where is it? Now you can see that our paragraph tag is quite different. So this is how you write articles, blog posts, description of product, or anything you want to do. So this is the paragraph. This is how we declare paragraph in HTML. So that's it. Alright, let's talk about how we can accurately format our paragraph. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna have a bunch of text, learn, let me say 80. So what I just did here was, if you know that if you're building a web page and you don't have content, you don't have text, you don't know how to formulate text, what you just do is you write LOREM, not N, then you specify the amount of words that you want. You can specify 200, you can specify 500 and everything. So here I just did 80. So let's save this. Sorry. Alright, I think we have a nice text here. So let's talk about how we can format our text. Now we're going to look into some other elements. So the first one is an element that I called a strong. Okay, so let's copy this paragraph and place it inside here, and let's see what's going to happen. You can see that the paragraph is bold now, so that is what the strong tag does. We also have what's it called, em, right? Yeah, em. So what this does is going to make the particular text, instead of it to be italic. Alright, let's see our website. You can see our website is italicized. Alright, so the next one, let me think. We also have, mark. We have mark, mar. Okay, let me give it this space. So I hope mark, yeah. So yeah, so let's see what this does. Actually, all this you need them, but when you're Googling CSS, you may not. You can see you just highlight that with a yellow color there. And we have this one is quite important: sub and sub. So sub, some of us should know what this will do, but let me just show you so that you have a better understanding of it. So let's go back here and look at it here. Sub will make the text a little bit downward, like this. So the next one is sub, SUB. So the sub is subscript, the sub is superscript, which means the text is gonna go above. So let's see, put it up and save. Oh my god. Alright, this is the sub, this is the sub, this is the sub. I think that's all. We also have other my focus in this tutorial is to teach you what you need to know. Alright, I don't want to bore you with stuff that you may not make use of actually. So we also have the delete, if you care for that, the el. Yeah, this is it. And what this does is quite simple. You're gonna see right now, just strike through those words. Yeah, this is the delete. So that's just how you can actually format your paragraph when you're writing. Maybe you're writing an article or a description about a product or about something else, so you can use that to format your paragraph. Alright, the next thing I'm going to show you now is the division tag and the span tag. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have another paragraph. So let's have another paragraph here. So that's uppercase. So Lauren 60, enter. Alright, division tag is like a container. But before we move on, I'm gonna cut this and I'm gonna define a division tag here. Now, a division tag is a container that wraps in other elements. That means other elements can be nested in the division tag. It helps us to format our code well. That's one. And number two, it gives us the ability to have different sections in our pages. So I've actually prepared this website to explain what I mean. For now, I want you to take a close look to this. Now you can see this paragraph here. Now this paragraph seems to be like a container. Like, look at it. there's a space here, there's a space beneath it, there's a space here. So if you want to achieve this perfectly, you make use of a div tag. So this one is going to be in a div tag because it's a block level element. So remember we talked about block elements and inline elements. A div tag is a block element that takes the full width. So you have this right here. Now look at this. This is also a div tag. You don't just spell out all this by writing. So a div tag gives us how to like structure our code well so that we can be able to format it in the web page. So this over here, down here, is a div tag. Now the best example I can use is this background image. Now this is a div tag. Consider a div tag as a box where you can put in content, right? It is a box where you can put in content. For our case here, we are putting paragraphs inside of it, right? So here they put this is a heading tag, this is an icon, an image icon, this is a paragraph, and this is a button. So everything is nested in a div. Now this right here is also nested in one div, and this is nested in another div tag. This is also nested in a div, right? So div, if you can understand div and span, you're going to know how to structure. You will be able to structure any kind of web page. So just know that this is also a div too. This background color, this box over here, you can see it's taking the full width of the content inside of it. This is also a div. Now these are also divs. So what I'm saying is you can next div inside of a div. That means here I'm putting paragraph, right? So I can have div inside of, I can have this div instead of this div. So what I can do, I can put in another paragraph, or let me just put header 2 here and say this is another div, and save this. Now one thing I need to talk about is that when you save it and you go back to your file and you refresh this, you're not going to see something new, right? Because everything looks the same. What's actually changed was this text over here. Now I'm going to explain block level element and inline elements in the future when we're going to be doing some little bit of styling. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of CSS in this code. Actually is right in our HTML file, so don't fret. Alright, so that's just div. Now span level element, they are elements that are in line, so they don't take the full width. For instance, this H2 here is a block level element, right? Is a block level element. So what it means is that, look at this, this paragraph here didn't start from here, it actually went down. So this H2 is a block element in that it takes the full width, then the next one comes down. So that is it. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is attributes. Now in HTML, attributes are what gives better descriptions to your HTML elements. So let's just go dive into it very fast. So for instance, look at this paragraph tag. Now if, let me just show you something. So title is equal to my name is name, and I save it. So let's go back to a page, refresh. Where did I put it? You can see what it's saying. Look at what I'm saying. Alright, you have this tooltip like this, you know, display box over here. My name is name. If I come here, my name is him. If I come here, but what if I come down here? It's not going to display. Why? Because the attribute is on this paragraph. Now let's go back and talk about attributes. Now attributes are key value pairs that describes that gives better description to your HTML elements. Now attributes are declared exactly this way. We have the name of the attributes, for this case title, we have the equal sign and the value of that attribute. So the value of the attributes is wrapped inside of a quote, or two quotes rather. So it could be a double quote, or you can have single quotes, either ways. All right, so there are so many attributes in HTML, and different element has different attributes. Now, as we go on, we're going to make use of attributes a lot, so don't worry, you're going to understand it, you're going to get a better comprehension about what attributes is. But just know that this is how attributes have been declared. You have the name of the attribute, you have this equality sign, and we have the value of the attribute. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is image. We're going to talk about how to fix image in our file. So I'm just going to come down here. So the image tag is a self-enclosing tag. What it means is, I talked about, I said that there are some HTML element that doesn't have closing tag. The reason is because you don't actually give them content outside of them, right? They don't have closing tag because they don't need content. So the image tag has basically, it comes with this attribute. We have the source attribute and we have the alt attribute. Let me just write it from scratch so that you get it. So start with your less than sign, then you close it this way. This is how image tag is declared. So now we're going to write our first attribute, which is the src. Now the src, let's have our equal to sign our code. The src in simple words is the source. Now what it's saying is that this is an image tag, and the image tag wants an image because its function is to display an image. So what we're going to do first is come to my file. Oh shit, let me look for a random image. Where can I get image? Okay, let me see if I can get image here. Alright, so I'm just going to drag this and drop it here. So I have background.jpg. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is the image here. So what we're going to do is, because this image is in the same directory as my index.html, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have background. You can see, thank you VS Code. VS Code has given me the auto completion, but I'm going to write it myself. Background.jpg. So we're going to save this and let's see what's going to happen. Did anything happen? Yes, of course. Whoa. Now this is so large. We're going to fix that in a second. Let's go back. Now the image tag has an attribute which is source. I said attributes gives your element or your tag better description. It tells it what. Okay, let's just assume that there is no source here. Let's just remove this source. Your HTML file will not know what to display. In fact, it won't know that this is an image tag. But now if I return the source back and save it and I come back here, the image is being displayed because I've given it another description that, okay, this is an image tag, and in my image tag I want to have the source right here. Alright, so the image tag also have another attribute called alt. Now the alt attribute is for screen readers. Alright, it just gives a description about your image. For my case, that's I think a fire burning. So let's just leave it that way. Alright, now we're going to make use of some other attributes. Now another attribute that you can give your image is the width. Now the width, let's say 40, and we also have, I'm sure you've guessed, the height, let's say 30. Actually, I think pixels. Yeah, I think it's pixels. So let's save this and go back and see. Oh my god, look at the baby image. Now this image, I've given it another attribute. I said, okay, I want the width of my image. Attribute, just see attribute as a way of customizing your HTML element. So I said I want to give my image the width of what did we give it? The width of 50 pixels and a height of 30 pixels. Well, you know what? Let's just make this a little bit large. Let's give it 120 pixels, and the height should be 90 pixels. Let's save that. You can see. So that is how images. This is one beautiful thing about HTML, the attributes. So you should always make use of this, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is anchor tag. So another tag, just write A and press enter. So this is the anchor tag. Now this tag also have an attribute. Now here is href, that means hyperlink reference. Now the anchor tag, let me go back to another website. Let's see which website. The anchor tag is, where is that page? Is a link. Now look at all this link that when I click on them they take me to another page. That is what an anchor tag is. So let's create our own anchor tag. Now this href is saying that where do you want, here we're going to have a text, let's say click me. So the href here is, we talk about attributes, so you're saying where do you want this click me to go to when it is being clicked. So for our case, we're just going to write https www.google.com. So as the user clicks this word, it's going to take them to this address. So let's try it out. Let's save it first and go back to our file, and you can see we have our anchor tag. Wow, beautiful. Now I have Chrome telling me it's going to go to google.com. So let's click on this. Let's see what will happen. Wow. So you can go back to your page and you can click it thousands of times. So that is that is the first thing about this href. So I hope you understand what anchor tags are. They're just links. You can style them, you can do anything you want with them. Now we also have another thing you should know. So what I'm going to do here is I should have another p tag here. So lorem 60. I want to have another p tag here and lorem. So the last, I'm sorry, I want to show you something real fast. So lorem 60. Now I need to tell you that every element can be assigned with an ID or a class name. Now an ID and a class name, they actually perform the same function, is just that they are different. Now an ID gives a better description of the particular element. For instance, you get this better when we go into styling in a short while now. So an ID, like for instance, if I give this one ID and I say para 1, now this ID, I can reference it to any other thing. For instance, you're gonna get it now. Look at this href. Let's do something like hash para 1. Let's save this. Remember that this para 1, this is the ID right here, so I'm actually assigning it to here. So let's see what we're gonna get. So we're gonna save this, come down here, we click this, and look at what we have here, para 1. Assuming we have okay, I know what I'm gonna do. Let's just have this, let's cut it and have it up here. Okay, so let's what am I gonna do now? Let's have this and duplicate it more. Let's save this. And this para 1, let's remove this from here and take it downwards. I want to show you guys something, and when I'm done showing you, you're gonna get what I'm talking about. So save this. Yeah, text is much now. So if I click here, you can see it take me down to this paragraph over here. The reason is because this paragraph has an ID, and when I click on this, I'm saying go to where that paragraph is. So it is actually specifying this paragraph. So that's what ID does. We also have class name. Now if you are trying to reference ID, we make use of this hash symbol. Now if you're trying to reference class name, you're going to create another paragraph here. We're going to assign it to the class. Let's go class. So the class is going to be para. Actually, class and ID are not the same, so lorem ipsum 50, enter. All right, let's save this and let's go back here. Let's have another anchor tag. Now this time we're going to, the reference is going to be, you know, when you want to specify ID, you make use of hash, but when you want to specify class, you make use of dot para. I hope that's what we named it here. Yeah, so let's save this. So if I click, let's refresh this. Now we're having to click me. You can see this one has been clicked. Now this is going to take me to, okay. You can see, very good, dots para. Now what actually happened? Now guys, when you start working with CSS and large file, you're going to understand a lot about class name and ID. Now ID, I just showed you the difference between class name and ID. ID can reference you to anywhere. You can make use of ID in your anchor tag, but please take note, don't use class name for anchor tag for reference. When you're working with CSS, you're going to make use of class name a lot than ID, but when you want to refer to a page beneath it, you can see this is going to work. This, you see, it's worked, but this is not going to work because that is not an ID. ID has more authority than class name, so that's just the two difference. Alright guys, with this knowledge and this stage, you have like the basic, the beautiful understanding of what HTML is, how it works. So we're going to dive into some more advanced concept of HTML. Don't worry, they are not difficult in any way. So I'm trying to make this video as short as possible, so we're just going to go into it. So I'm going to declare them and you will see what they do. So the next one we're going to go into is there is an element that is HR. What HR actually does is just to give us an underline. You're going to see that in a minute. So the next element we're going to talk about is HTML comment. Alright, so the way we declare comment is with a less than sign, an exclamation mark, 2 dots, and this. So how did I actually make this work? So if you're using VS Code, just click on control / it's going to give you a comment. So I'm going to be having comments here. So the next one we're going to talk about is list. Alright, so let's just declare. So we have two kinds of lists in HTML. We have the ordered list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, and blah, blah. And we also have the unordered list. Right, so let's start with the ordered list. We write OL, short for order list. And this is a block level element that other elements can be nested in it. So we also have, inside of this ordered list, we have LI. Now inside of our LI, we can have our list item like list 1. Let's come down and write LI list 2. LI list 3. Let's save this, refresh this page, let's come down, look at it. Now ordered lists are ordered that's just the name. So we have 1, 2, 3 and list 1, list 2, list 3. What about unordered list? So let's have UL. Just see this as the opposite of ordered list. Okay, so we are going to follow the same pattern. So inside of UL, we're going to have LI list 1, just to have list 2, and we have list 3. So we're going to save this. So let's come back so we'll see the difference. Now you can see unordered list is giving us this bullet button. This is how the list in some place. If you want a list like this, it's actually fine. So they also have attributes too, but you're going to work with ordered list and unordered list in in CSS. We're going to go into that when we start our CSS course. So that is how you have ordered list and unordered list. So the next one we're going to talk about is the one I love so much, tables. Now guys, tables is something that we need to pay attention to because it has much code but it's very simple, don't worry. So we're going to have HR. Yeah, I forgot to tell you about show you what HR. This is HR, this line over here, that's what we call HR. I just declared and down, look at the underline here. So that's what we call HR. It like helps you to separate your code. So for tables, you're going to have table. So it's a parent level element, it's a block level element, just like this OL. So inside of a table, we have different kind of things. Now we have the table head. Inside of the table head, we have a row, and inside of the row, we are going to have the table headings. So let me just do that quick. So we have the T head. All right. So inside of this, now this is where you're going to do a lot of nesting. So inside of this T head, we have row, TR. Now inside of this TR, we have TH, which is the table heading. So this is going to be first name. So let's go back, let's try TH again, just like for the list item. So this one is last, what am I spelling? Name. And this will be for age. So let's just save this and check what we had. Wow, look at this. We have the first name, the last name, and the age. This is a table. I know you're not seeing it like how is this a table and everything. Don't worry, I'm going to show you. So that is the heading of a table. So a table has a head and a body. So this is for the head. So let's go down. We are still inside. Please take notes of your formatting. Okay, we are still inside of the table, but we are not inside of the table head. This is another. So now we're going to talk about table body. That's T body. You guessed it. So the same thing we did up there, we're going to do it here. In the T body, we have a row. That's TR. Now inside of this row, instead of having table head, TH, table heading, we're going to have table data. So we have table heading in the T head, we have table data in the T body, so which is TD, table data. So the first name, we are going to follow this exact convention. We're going to follow this line. So the first name is where is it? John, John. The second name, TD, is going to be Doe, and the age is going to be 50. So let's save this and see what we're going to get. So it's going to look like a table now. Yeah, you can see what I'm talking about. It's taking that shape, right? So you can have many please look at this. This is a row. You know, we declared a table. Now we said inside of the table we want to have our table head, which is this over here. Now inside of the table head we are saying, okay, we want to have a row of 3 items. So a row of 3 heading. The first heading is first name, the second heading is last name, the third heading is age. Now we also specify T body, right? So in our T body we also declared a row. We said, okay, fine, we want to have a row, and inside of a row we want to have 3 items. So this is the first row. Do you know that we can also have other rows down? So this is the first row that has 3 elements. So let's have other rows. So this is the first row here that has 3 elements. So let's have other rows. So I'm just going to bring this down a bunch of times. Actually, the way I do this is Shift Alt and you press down. Okay, save this and let's see. It's going to have a look of table now. Wow, look at this. So this is how you write tables. You can change the values. You can change the values here and there. So that is how you have tables. So let's move on to another. So what else can we go for? Form. This is the sweetest part. Alright, I don't need to explain form to you because I believe almost everybody has used Facebook or WhatsApp or stuff before. And when you want to sign up on Facebook, they're going to give you like a form that you're going to fill your first name, your last name, age, date of birth, and all that. So we're going to learn how to create that kind of form right here. So the first thing we're going to write is form, and just forget about action. This is for back-end service here. Alright, instead of our form, just like table, form has some child instead of them. The first thing we're going to have is let's see, field set, I guess. Yeah, field set. Now instead of our field set, we're going to have legend, legend. Now let's have personal information like that. I'm just bring this a little bit up. Okay, so let's save this and see what happens. Wow, you can see this is what field set does. Actually, we've not started creating our form, but this is just field set. You can use field set anywhere. All right, you can use field set anywhere. So let me just move this. Let me make the form as simple as ever. So the first thing we're going to do is label for name. So the name is going to be, so we're going to have name. Now after our label, we're going to have input. Now this input is like 70% or 80% of the form. So input is that box you do, you're going to see it very soon. So input. Now input has, let me start from scratch. Input has an attribute of type. So what is going to be the type? It's going to be a button, checkbox, date, time, image. So here we want it to be text. Let's save this. Let's see what's going on. Wow, look at this. So this is the first input. Now this is what label does. Label will give you that name beside it, and input. Input is an inline element. Two of them actually. So I'm just going to copy this and bring it down. You have name, username. Type is going to be text also, and we have password. Now the type here is going to be password, and I'll tell you why. So let's save this and come back and refresh this. Now look at this. Name, we can write our name. Username, we can write our username. But password, look at this. So the reason why it's giving me this dot is because I said that I want this input type to be password, so it's going to encrypt that for me. So please make sure that you take note of this. Now we also have another input type. Input. The type here is going to be submit. So let's refresh this and see what it does. Now the submit is going to give us a button, because when the user fills in this information and clicks on submit, it's going to submit it to wherever you want to put it. So that is how we work on what do you call it, form in HTML. So there are other input types we can take advantage of here. So input, we have let's see, type is equal to, we have checkbox, we have date, time, we have image, we have radio, we have so many other things. I mean, so you can make use of all this. You can make use of all this and make your code looks beautiful. Look at it, checkbox, check, check, check. Alright, so that's all for, you can actually format this better by having a break. So where are we? There's all called BR just breaks your code for you. So two of them is going to break it. So let me just copy. Don't worry, you're going to see what it does soon enough. And here also, and I think let's leave it this way and save it and come back here and boom, You can see it. Now I know it's not beautiful, but that's what you do with CSS. It's fine, although. So we also have what we call placeholder. In our input parameters, we have place, and I'm sure you've seen this a lot. So placeholder gives description of the input. For instance, I don't want to show them labels, so I can say enter your name, please. Let's save this and go back here and refresh it. Now this is, you can see the placeholder. So as soon as the user starts typing, the placeholder is going to disappear. But as soon as the user, so it's giving the user, hey, this is what you should do in this input box. So that is like the basics, and that is everything you need to know in when working with what is it called, forms. Now instead of forms, we can also have some options. For instance, the user has name, username, password. We can give the user some options. So here, actually, let me do it outside here. So we have select. Now just forget about the name and ID and everything for now. Let's make this as simple as possible. We're talking about HTML here. Now instead of select, we have, now I love the way they've structured HTML because it is just English, right? So we have options, right? Now this option, forget about value. We can give it value. Value is equal to, so we can say what should I do? Python. So we have Python, and I'm going to copy this like I think 1, 2, 3 more times. Let me make this JavaScript as JS. So Java CRIPT, and this one is going to be Java. Oh my god, these are big programming languages. Yeah, so Java, and the last one is going to be let's say PHP. Is like grandfather of programming language, PHP. So let's save this and go back to our page and refresh. Where is it? Now this is it. So if I click on this button, look at this. Wow, Python, JavaScript. You can click here, it's going to show Java. If you click here, JavaScript. If you click, so that is options. So here we are saying select, and when you click on select, we've also declared options. So we say select, and you'll be like, what am I selecting? Then I'm giving you options. These are what you're selecting. So this select tag is very important also in writing your HTML code. Now the last thing that I'm going to talk about now is button. So button. So button, just say click. It's the same thing as that type submit in the input box. Let's save this. Look at this. You can see that it's kind of like the same, but they are actually two different elements. So that's just it, guys. Alright, so now guys, let's talk about styling. I said we're going to add a little bit of styling, and just know that if you want to go fully into styling your web page, making it look beautiful, like this, or like this page here, or like this page over here, this nav, beautiful. If you want to go into that, you have to dive into CSS proper. So I'm going to have a CSS course. Okay, I have a CSS tutorial. You can check that and sharpen your skills so that you will be able to build a live static web page. But here we're going to have just the basics of how styling works. Now in HTML, in web development, there are actually 3 kinds of styling. The first one is inline styling. The other one is styling inside your HTML file, and the third one is external styling, which is the one you'll be using in your live project. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have inline. Now this is where you understand div, anchor, tag. This is where you're going to understand div tag, span tag. You're going to understand block level elements and inline level elements. So what if I say, now inline styles are attributes, so you declare them the way you declare attributes, like this. Now you're going to have the first property is background color. Now look at the convention of style, it's quite different from the rest. Now when you have the name of the attribute, which is the style, the equality sign and the quote, so what you're going to do is you have the name of the style and the value of the style. So after the name of the style, then you have this column, the value, then you're going to close it with this. Please make sure you close it, it's very important. So here we're going to have let's see, light blue. That's just it. You save it. Now you're going to see that every children of this div element, like what I mean is every element that is wrapped inside of this div is going to take in that background color, and this will make you understand what I mean when I showed you where is the website? When I showed you this website. So let's just save it and see. You can see every element except this one. This one are not inside the div. So every element are taking that light blue color. But what if I decided to give this guy this paragraph here, style, sorry about that, style, and the background color, I give this one red. So let's see what's going to happen to this. So we save this. Where's the red? Where's the red? Now look at this. Now you know I told you that header 1 to header 6 and paragraph and all those, they are block level elements. The reason is simple. They take the full width. Look at it. Even with this space, it's taking this full width. Now the paragraph is overriding this background color from its parent because I'm declaring the background color here. So you can do so many things with style, but this is not. This way is good. You can also do styling here. This is the inline, I mean the internal styling. They call it internal. So you have style. Now instead of here, you're going to declare everything. Now this is like the basics, the foundation of CSS. So I'm just going to do like 1 or 2, then I'll wrap this video because this is not for CSS. So now let's pick paragraph, and with 2 curly braces, press enter, and beautiful indentation. Then you have background color as aqua. Yeah, aqua. So we save it, and you observe that all the paragraph are going to take in that. Look at it, all the paragraph except this, because this is an inline element. So guys, if you know you want to go dive into CSS, you want to learn everything, you want to build web pages that looks like this, that looks like this, that looks like this, beautiful web pages like this, just make sure that you check out my CSS tutorial. I have it there where we're going to have beautiful styling and we're going to build a static web page. So that is just it about this tutorial. I hope you've been able to learn 1 or 2 things. Now before you go, before you leave, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And before you leave again, I want to give you a general guideline. Guys, you have to listen to this. Make sure that you write all your elements, I mean your tag name, in lowercase. So it should be like this. So you don't have something like body, or body, like, you know, this is a wrong kind of format. And make sure that whenever you open your tag, whenever you declare an opening tag and you have a content, make sure you close it, and you close it properly. This is how we close it. Make sure you close it properly. Make sure that you have you in your attributes, whenever you're declaring your attribute for anchor, for anything, make sure that you have the name of the attribute, the equality sign, and in quotes you put your attribute there. So that's just it. That is everything you need to know, guys. You shouldn't go further or beyond this. That is everything you need to know in HTML. So I would advise you, if you finish this tutorial, the next thing for you is to go and dive into CSS, and I have that tutorial. Just check it in my channel. Make sure you subscribe, please, and please subscribe and hit the like button, and I will appreciate it. So thank you, and God bless you. See you later.